1878, a New York businessman, Mr. Sam Rubin, well, he decided that it might be fun to own his own racehorse. And Mr. Rubin didn't know anything about horses. The only thing he understood about the races was basically how to place a bet and where the valet parking was. He bought John for $25,000, and his very first start for Mr. Rubin, John won a $25,000 claiming race on the dirt by 2.5 lengths. His next start was on the grass or turf, and again he won, but this time by 14 lengths. So some of Mr. Rubin's friends who knew a little bit more about racing than what he did, they advised him to send John out west where the turf racing is more lucrative, more competitive, and run all year long. So in late 1979, John headed to California to his new trainer, Ron McAnally. In 1980, John won over $900,000 and was named champion turf horse. In 1981, he won over $1.7 million. He was named champion older horse, champion turf horse, and horse of the year. Now in 1982 and 1983, he had some slight injuries and he managed to win only 4 races, but they amounted to over $1.2 million. When Mr. McAnally wanted to bring John back to race as a 9-year-old, folks were skeptical that he could be competitive at that age. Well, he did lose his first race that year, but he went on after that to have his best year ever at the races. He won 6 graded stake races, over $2.3 million. He was again voted Horse of the Year along with champion turf horse. And at age 9 in 1984, John is the oldest horse to ever win a Grade 1 stake race and also to win Horse of the Year. When John was retired, he was the richest horse in history with lifetime earnings of over $6.5 million. He's now 7th on the all-time list, but he is still the richest gelding of all time. John holds 7 Eclipse Awards, which is racing's highest honor, and his 7 is more than any other horse but Forgo. Both John Henry and Mr. McAnally were inducted into Racing's Hall of Fame in 1990. John was voted the racehorse of the decade of the 1980s and the 23rd best racehorse of the 20th century. John's been retired for 18 years. He's now 28 years old, and he stands a very small but still very nasty 15.1 hands tall. Ladies and gentlemen, the great John Henry.